Every night after classes ended, I took the same train home. My final year at university had been exhausting, and my apartment was 2 towns away. To catch the last train, I walked almost half an hour to the station. The platform was usually empty by then. No conversations, no footsteps, just cold air and flickering lights. The train arrived at exactly 8:10 p.m. I always sat in the last carriage. It was quieter there. That night, there was only one other passenger. She was sitting several rows ahead of me. Her head was lowered, long hair covering her face completely. She didn't move, not when the doors closed, not when the train started moving. At first, I ignored her. I opened my notebook and pretended to revise my notes. But something about the silence felt wrong. No phone sounds, no shifting in seats, not even breathing. I glanced up again. She hadn't changed position. That's when I heard it. A faint scratching sound, like fingernails dragging slowly across metal. It was coming from her direction. I tried to convince myself it was just the train tracks. Then she spoke.
Do you always sit alone?
I nearly dropped my pen. She was standing in front of me now. I hadn't heard her walk. Her face was pale, too pale. Her eyes were dark, so dark they didn't reflect the light. "I'm sorry," I said, forcing a smile. "I didn't hear you come over." She tilted her head slowly. "I know." She sat across from me. Up close, her smile felt stretched, unnatural. She asked where I was studying. Her voice was calm, almost comforting. For a moment, I forgot how uneasy I felt. Then she leaned closer. "Do you know why this carriage is always empty?" I shook my head. She whispered, "People say this train doesn't always stop." My stomach tightened. "Stop where?" I asked. She smiled wider. "At the station." The lights flickered. That scratching sound returned, louder this time. I looked down. Her fingers were pressed into the seat, leaving deep grooves in the metal frame. I stood up immediately. "I think I'll change seats," I said. She didn't move. Instead, she looked past me. "Too late," she whispered. The train slowed suddenly. The windows went black. No reflections, no outside lights. And then, complete silence. When the doors finally opened, I was alone in the carriage. The station sign outside was unfamiliar. I never found my way back home, but every night, someone new sits in the last carriage, waiting.
I told myself I was done with kitchens. And after years of grease burns, split knuckles, and double shifts that ended with my clothes smelling like oil and regret, I walked out one night and never went back. Cooking had taken everything it could from me. My time, my body, my patience. Then my father got sick. Hospitals don't wait for you to get your life together. Bills arrive on schedule. Treatment doesn't pause because you're tired or broke. And pride dissolves fast when someone you love can't breathe without machines. That's when the message came. No company name, no logo, just a secure link and a short description. Discreet culinary work, off-site location, immediate cash, skill required, questions discouraged. I should have deleted it. Instead, I replied, "The place wasn't a restaurant. It wasn't even a building you'd expect people to enter willingly. I followed coordinates down a service road, past a locked gate, into something that felt buried rather than built. Inside was a kitchen. Too clean, too bright. Stainless steel everywhere. Industrial equipment humming softly like it was waiting. There were no coworkers. Only sealed containers in cold storage and a set of printed instructions laid neatly beside a camera. Prepare the contents. Document the process. Leave by midnight. That first night, the envelope of cash was thicker than anything I'd ever held. I noticed the meat immediately. It wasn't rotten. It wasn't mislabeled. It was wrong. There are textures you learn over time. You feel them before you think about them. And this didn't belong to any animal I knew. I didn't ask where it came from. I cooked. I filmed. I left. And the money paid for another week of hospital care. The jobs kept coming. Better equipment, more cameras. Instructions became more detailed. Angles, timing, close-ups. Someone wasn't just paying for food. They were collecting something. I stopped thinking about it too hard. Survival has a way of narrowing your vision. You focus on what's directly in front of you and ignore the dark behind it. Until the night the container arrived warm. The seal fogged when I touched it. Inside wasn't prepared. It wasn't processed. It hadn't been finished. I sat on the floor for a long time with the lights off, listening to the hum of refrigeration units and the quiet ticking of a clock I hadn't noticed before. That was when I realized I wasn't being trusted. I was being watched. The next morning, my father's bills were gone. Paid. All of them. No return address. Just a note on my phone. You hesitated. Don't do that again. After that, they stopped delivering ingredients. They sent images instead. Addresses, times, instructions that no longer use the word cook. The first location looked like a home, but nothing felt lived in. The walls too bare, the furniture too evenly placed. Cameras hidden poorly, like they wanted me to see them. The man inside wasn't unconscious. He looked at me like I was something already decided. I don't remember the details clearly. Shock erases edges. What I remember is the sound, the way the cameras adjusted on their own. When it was over, no one came to clean. By morning, everything was gone, including my ability to pretend this was temporary. Weeks later, they sent me footage, edited, scored, cut like entertainment. I saw my hands, my movements, my face. A title card appeared before the video ended. I turned it off before I saw the rest. That night, a package waited outside my door. Inside was a clean apron with my initials stitched carefully in the fabric, and a message I didn't need to read twice. From then on, I didn't resist. Resistance costs more than obedience. They moved me constantly. New kitchens, new tools, same rules, same cameras, same quiet certainty that someone was always ahead of me, planning the next step. Sometimes they brought the subjects already broken. Sometimes they wanted them aware. I learned not to think beyond the task. Then one day, the container was empty. Only a photograph inside. Me, standing at my own window, time-stamped hours earlier. The caption read, "Innovation requires sacrifice." I ran. It didn't matter. The place they sent me next was already sealed, reinforced, designed to hold heat and sound and panic. They didn't hurt me. That was the point. They wanted me scared. A reminder that ownership didn't require destruction, only permission. When I woke up, they were already preparing the next kitchen. Now, I travel with them. I cook what they provide. I smile when the cameras blink. I don't ask about the audience. I don't ask how long this goes on. Because every time I think about stopping, I remember the live feed they showed me once. Someone I love, breathing because I obey.
I didn't plan to spend New Year's Eve alone, but by the time the sun disappeared behind the buildings, the city felt unfamiliar, too quiet, as if everyone else had already left for somewhere I wasn't invited. My apartment was small, one room, one window, one old wall clock hanging crooked above the door. The clock had been broken for months, yet that night it started ticking again. Slow, loud, unavoidable. Outside, distant fireworks echoed between buildings, muffled, like they were happening in another world. I tried to ignore the clock. I turned on the television. Every channel showed the same thing. Crowds cheering, people counting down, smiling faces bathed in colorful lights. I turned it off. The ticking grew louder. I checked my phone. 11:58 p.m. 2 minutes left. I hadn't made any resolutions, hadn't thought about wishes, hadn't even thought about the year ending. I stood by the window and looked down at the street. It was empty. No cars, no people, no movement. The street lights flickered, briefly dimming, then returning to normal. That's when I noticed the sound. Someone was counting. Not from outside, from inside my apartment. A whisper, faint but clear. 10. I froze. I hadn't spoken. The TV was off. My phone was silent. 9. The voice wasn't coming from a direction. It felt like it was inside the walls, inside the air. I backed away from the window. 8. The clock above the door stopped ticking. Its hands began to move backward. 7. My phone screen lit up again. 11:59. No seconds showing. 6. I tried calling someone, anyone. No signal. 5. The lights flickered. For a moment, my reflection in the dark television screen looked wrong, delayed, like it was still moving after I stopped. 4. I turned away. The whisper grew closer. Not louder, closer. 3. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. My chest felt tight, like the air had thickened. 2. The apartment door creaked. I hadn't touched it. It slowly opened. Beyond it was darkness. Not the hallway, not the building, just darkness. 1. Silence. Every sound vanished at once. No ticking, no fireworks, no breathing. Then the clock struck midnight. The sound wasn't metallic or sharp. It was deep, hollow, like something knocking from far away. The lights went out completely. In the darkness, something spoke. Make a wish. The voice was calm, neutral, neither male nor female. My voice cracked. I didn't prepare one. That's fine. Most people don't. A faint glow appeared near the doorway. A figure stood there. It looked like me. Same height, same clothes, same face. But its eyes were wrong. They reflected nothing.
What do you want to leave behind?
I shook my head. I don't understand. It stepped closer. With each step, the apartment felt smaller, tighter. Every year, it said, something stays behind. My reflection smiled. Regret, guilt, fear, memory. It stopped an arm's length away. Or yourself. The clock struck again, once, twice. Each strike made my head ache, filling it with moments I wanted to forget, words I shouldn't have said, things I should have done differently. I don't want to stay, I whispered. That's what you wished, it said gently. The lights flickered back on. I was alone. The apartment looked normal again. The door was closed. The television was off. Fireworks erupted outside, loud and bright. My phone buzzed. Messages, calls, Happy New Year texts flooding in. The clock above the door was broken again, silent. I laughed shakily, told myself it was stress, imagination, fear playing tricks on me. I went to bed. The next morning, everything felt lighter, too light. I went outside. People passed me without looking, without reacting. A man walked straight through me. I looked down. I cast no shadow. Behind me, in my apartment window, I saw someone standing. Someone who looked exactly like me, smiling, wearing my life. And as the city celebrated the new year, I realized what I had left behind.